Hi, I'm Wayne Wally, Editor-in-Chief of Rental Management. I'm here today with Clay Eubanks, the president of Takeuchi US in the Atlanta area. Clay, thanks for joining us. And we'd like to talk to you a little bit about where things are going in the marketplace for compact excavators and the other types of equipment that you carry.
Yeah, so the compact business has just continued to explode really over the last 10 years, kind of after we came out of the recession in '09. We've seen this tremendous growth of all compact equipment. There's been a fundamental switch with compact track loaders, for example, after 2009. They've kind of started replacing the wheel version. Still a big market for the wheel version, and we still sell quite a bit of those, but there's been that fundamental shift to track loaders, so that's been one change. And then compact excavators continue to grow in popularity, in size. They become more of a tool carrier again. So the growth of that product has been double digit as well for the last several years. And quite honestly, we see that growth continue for the next several years as well. I don't think we've reached the saturation point for the industry. So very exciting place to be right now.
Ah, good deal. Is most of this equipment really targeted to the rental industry? Is that your main customer for this type of equipment?
So first use for our products in general right now is about 50% into a rental application, and that's continuing to grow year over year. Several reasons. One, the benefits of rental are obvious, but as the machines become more technological and more regulations on the product, people would much rather rent than own, and I think you see that in rental in general. So that's one of the reasons for the big growth in the rental industry in North America too. So
I think it might be even a decade ago that you had a hybrid prototype on a show floor, and
yeah.
a couple years ago you had a hybrid here for sale.
Yeah.
How are things changing for compact equipment in terms of how it's powered? You hear a lot in Europe about zero emission equipment,
Right.
and there seems to be that movement toward that. Is that coming to North America?
It is, and we've got a fully electric battery-powered machine here this year as well. The technology continues to evolve, and like any new technology, every year the technology gets better and better, and the price gets lower and lower. So I don't think we've hit the sweet spot yet of the technology advancements and the price decreases for it to be main market, but there's certainly specific applications where the machines are doing very, very well right now. You think about a hospital, for example, where they have to do work and you can have zero emissions. You think about companies that are very green oriented, maybe like Apple or Microsoft. They dictate if there's a green option, that's the only equipment allowed on jobs for them. So that's where the majority of these machines are going now. But as engines become more complicated and more expensive because of the emissions, we will see the continual change to battery hybrid type powered equipment.
Well, staying on that line, Tier 4
Yeah.
obviously is out there. I'm sure you have Tier 4
Yeah.
machines. Have those engines started to change as well? I remember hearing one company talk about, we had to put all this stuff on the engine to reach Tier 4. Now our goal is to get it all off
Yeah.
and still reach Tier 4. Has there been a little bit of an evolution there for you?
You know, the technology is evolving, but you have things going on like in Europe, Stage 5, they're dictating you put that equipment back on DPFs, for example. And so at some point we need a global regulation, so we're not doing different things in Europe than we are in North America. And then here in North America we have a problem where California seems to be leading the charge on regulations, and then the rest of the country follows. So that's the tricky part right now is not having a global standard. And there's some challenges with taking, for example, DPF equipment off. You have to run your engines a lot hotter, and some of the unintended consequences of that are yet to be seen too. So it's right now the final Tier 4 engines with DPF systems are as reliable as they've ever been. Customers now know how to operate them, don't let them idle, etc. So the reliability and uptime is very good right now.
Staying sort of on the technology vein for a little bit, where's telematics fit in for Takeuchi? And maybe if you can talk a little bit about virtual reality and augmented reality, are those starting to make inroads into what you're offering and to your customers?
So the telematics, we introduced Takeuchi Fleet Management 3 years ago and put telematics standard on all of our products. The initial stages brings very basic information of location and hours and error codes and things like that, which is good to help you troubleshoot products and for the rental, seeing where the machine is and different things like that. But kind of the next step for us is to integrate our service tools in there so you can do remote diagnostics, remote service tool access to a machine. If a machine is customer's not paying, you could put it in idle mode so they can't use it. So a lot more advanced features that we're seeing from telematics. As far as some of the other technologies, we really haven't seen it too much in the compact world yet, but I'm sure it'll be right around the corner for us too. So,
is there anything customers are demanding today that they weren't really looking at a couple years ago?
Yeah. I think the telematics, a lot of people are interested in that now that we're not, but I think most of it's because everybody from the equipment side is putting it on, so they're saying, hey, what is this? So I think the industry's leading them a little bit on that, but they're finding the benefits of, hey, I can bill out my machine now based on telematics. I can see productivity of operators based on telematics. So the customers are really starting to embrace the telematics. And I think, as we talked earlier, that next level of integration into service tool access, if I can do a remote regen on a Tier 4 engine from anywhere in the world, that's going to save people real dollars of service calls and things like that. So they're wanting the machines just to be as efficient as possible, and anything to reduce downtime is one of the things they're really demanding now. So.
Very good. Yeah, do you see things like artificial intelligence and machines, compact equipment that can actually sort of run itself, or it can only be for repetitive tasks, I assume, so that operators would be freed up, because there's that other problem out there. Where can we find trained operators for this equipment?
Yes, it is, and we do have a few machines that we're running in some of those areas now. There's a solar farm in California, for example, where they have a very dedicated task where they run in and out of the rows between the solar panels doing maintenance, and they've automated that, and it's pretty interesting to see. But I think the biggest challenge when you start taking the human element out, when you're digging, you might not know what utilities are underground, even though they've been marked. So you can't program that in yet to artificial intelligence. And if you run across rock that you didn't know was there, that an operator can make the decision to go around, and instead of the program just trying to dig through it, kind of thing. So there's some real challenges, I think, with that for the non-repetitive task. But where you can automate, we'll definitely see it, because people coming into the industry is one of the biggest problems we'll all face, for sure. So.
Yeah, the type of products that Takeuchi offers, how has your line changed? Are you now offering some bigger machines or some smaller machines? Has the whole line expanded out or stayed pretty much in the same area?
It's expanded. I think we haven't gotten too much bigger than what our footprint has been in the past, nor too much smaller, but we filled in the gaps more as for example, compact excavator market's gotten bigger. There now is kind of a class for every size from 1 ton to 9 tons, and so it gives people more of a choice for their specific application, transportation requirements and things like that. So a lot more models to choose from than there has been in the past. On the track loader side, we offer both vertical and radial type lift loader arms now. So again, customers can choose what's best for their application and in their regional market demands. So basically just more choice now.
What we're hearing about a lot too is tariffs. Now, some companies immediately started upping some prices on some of their equipment, but have tariffs impacted Takeuchi?
They have not impacted us directly because of our whole goods are imported and there's no tariffs on whole goods. It has impacted us on some aftermarket parts type products that we bring in. But where it's really had an impact, as soon as there was a tariff on steel, it put a big demand on domestic steel, so it raised the price for steel everywhere around the world, and that has impacted every manufacturer, and been able to get away from that. We've been fortunate that we haven't had to put steel surcharges on or things like that, but it's definitely put a lot of pressure from the cost side that we need. The flip side of that, you look how good our economy is doing now because a lot of the jobs and manufacturing that has come back here, and so I think that's, there's been a positive to that side as well.
I think we touched on this one, Clay, already, but I'll ask it again. I mean, how is the role of equipment rental stores? Has that changed in terms of what your sales and marketing strategy is today? Has rental become a more important market for you?
This is our 40th anniversary in North America this year, and we've done a lot of reflecting on our history. Every time you have a milestone, and really it hasn't changed. I mean, rental is what started the compact equipment industry in North America. Our first trade show was the ARA show in 1979, and people would walk by and had no idea what a compact excavator was, and now there are 65,000 sold in the U.S. So in that period of time, we created an industry, and quite honestly, the Rental Association helped us create that. So we've always had a laser focus on rental, and it's been an important part of our sales and marketing, and I think will continue to be for forever. It's just in our DNA.
Are we at a point now where it's more advisable for a rental store in particular, or just in general for anybody, to be buying a tool carrier because the attachments are going to work just as well as a dedicated machine? Are we at that point?
For certain attachments, they are. I think when you think of like hydraulic hammers and augers and grapples and things like that, I think they'll work fine on most any product, so you can use one machine for multiple tools. When you get into more specialized type applications like mowing type product, you really need a machine set up for that, so it gets a little harder. But the general attachments most people are using today work fine on a range of products, so you increase your versatility and utilization.
What's your outlook from a manufacturer's perspective?
Yeah, we're very, very optimistic as well here in North America, and actually globally as well. A lot of it, because we are so close to rental, we see the same numbers and think we're going to be part of that rising tide. But it's two things for us. Our industry actually has been growing at about a 10% pace, because not only is the rental industry and industry in general 5 to 7%, but there's still this transition to compact equipment from other products, I'll say, and we're part of that. We think really the next 5 years will be good. The election year coming up, those historically see a little bit of uneasiness, I guess, as we go through, but overall the next 5 years should be very, very good here, I think.
Excellent. Well, Clay, thanks for joining us.